Like to call the meeting to order for the St. John Economic Development Committee, April 13th special meeting tonight. Please rise for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, I checked most of them, but you can call it.
Emily Warren, not here.
Nope.
Scott Bell, not here.
Absent.
Joe Barry,
Absent.
not here.
Yeah.
I'm here. Sorry. Dave Easthold,
Present.
John DeYoung,
Present.
Kelly Stoming,
Present.
Mr. Wazawadi,
Present.
Jason,
You, sir?
and Mike Aurelio.
Here.
All right. Thank you very much. We're going to have an open discussion tonight about the festival. There's a few things that I'll like to talk about here on my list that we can talk about, and then get also what Cindy has done. But sponsorships, and I've got a rough draft on sponsorships for people that want to advertise, so I have that. We need to talk about the tent. St. John the Baptist Church, or the Catholic Church, uses marquee tent, and I've used them in the past. I think the town has used them for different functions, but we need to secure that, and I do have some pricing on that. My other thought was at the ice arena too, that did anybody talk to Mrs. Butcher yet? No? Okay. I think that on July 3rd, when this event happens, it would be great if she would be open and have her staff there doing games and things inside the building for kids, and that would give some time out for the adults to go to our beer tent and food tent and things like that. So that's kind of will benefit her on a monetary basis, but also will help us with parents. Well, I don't want to bring my kid there, and all that, and we can maybe attract a little bit more there. So I'm thinking that we need to talk with her and get that down. And then, of course,
I'm sorry, what is the name?
Eileen Butcher.
Thank you.
Yeah. And then, of course, we're going to talk about the bands tonight, which you sent over too, and the food vendors. And so I think we've got a lot of things in progress. I do have some sponsorship applications to fill out. We have some of the banks that want to sponsor. I've talked to a couple of them. I'm not going to say who yet, because they haven't sent us a check. So, but I think that I'll let everyone review this sponsorship opportunity sheet that I have here. If you guys want to up it, that's fine. If you want to decrease it, that's fine also. But we can kind of go over that together. I've been out of town myself for 3 weeks, so I didn't make copies. I'm sorry about that. But we'll go over that also. But I think we've got a good start on it, and I'm thankful that Cindy's got the work done that she's got done too. So if we can start with, why don't we just start with this sponsorship deal here. I'd like to maybe show you guys here first, and then we can discuss it. Huh? Yeah, if we can get copies. I failed to do that because I was home all day today, kind of under the weather myself. So, while he's doing that, Cindy, did you want to talk about the bands?
Okay, we had proposals from
Cindy,
Replay. Oh, I'm sorry.
Can you talk into the mic?
I'm sorry. Is it
Yeah.
okay?
Make sure it's on. There's a little button
Right in the middle.
on the bottom of the base.
Am I on?
There you go.
Okay, all right. Okay, we've have proposals, written proposals from Replay and a band called Little Giant, and then Rob has a band called Gearheart that is also interested. So these three bands are penciled in for that day, so we need to make a decision soon so the other bands could open up that date, for other opportunities.
Did you want something written from Gerhardt?
Yes, if they're definitely in the running, we would want a written proposal from them. I don't know how we want to move forward to decide on the bands. There was a suggestion that, everybody vote on it. So whatever, but I'd like us to try to wrap that up soon so we can open it up for the other bands that, everybody wants to be part of the inaugural,
Yeah.
Freedom Fest here.
Thank you.
Could we have multiple bands?
I don't see what.
Well,
It's possible, but I
Cost-wise,
mean, you'd have to break the time out evenly.
Right, but I mean, let's start way in the beginning. Have we settled on a start time?
we did.
We did, I believe it was, the bands were going to play till 9:30. So they gave us like a 3 or 4 hour window that they would play for.
Well, we could probably do two. More of an evening band and more of a.
That's what I was thinking, like an afternoon. What time are we looking to start? At like the 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock? Have we?
It sounded like that was at 3 or
3,
4.
I
Yeah, I think we were looking at maybe doing like from 2 to 9 or something like
think
that
that
is what we
sounded
were
right.
talking about.
Well, you got to figure the fireworks aren't going to start any quicker
Till about
than 9:30.
Yeah.
Right.
So we're looking at a minimum of 2 bands because we're not going to have one band play.
That's my point. I
7
mean,
hours.
it would be
so.
nice to have for lack of a better word, an afternoon band, a break.
Yeah.
Give them a chance to take down and bring in new equipment and have an evening band.
So your experience, would that be, I would like to have more bands than less, just cost-wise and for that day.
Yeah,
What do you think?
I think all the bands are around $1,000 for their, 3 hour time frame. The bands, we have to decide on a stage and lighting and sound system. Some of the bands provide that, some of the bands don't. So that's something that we need to keep, we have to organize also.
When I talked to Marquee Tent, which does the festival for the church, they have a smaller tent and a larger tent for the beer tent and food tent. And you're going to have food vendors around that also, I believe. Is that the idea of it with our food trucks? That the people will be able to, it'll be close to that tent. So they can get their food and then come in to the tent.
Sounds
It's-
right, yeah, sounds
yep.
good.
So, all right.
So
And
my
then
notes-
if the ice arena is open and you can get her staff to work on the 3rd of July, then she can have games for the kids inside. Also, it's a great, God forbid there's any rain, but then,
Right.
then the kids are inside also. And hopefully we can get through that. So you got to think of weather too, I would imagine.
Yeah, they have to be inside at least a shell of some kind.
Yes,
Either a separate tent or inside the back of a larger one.
right, right.
And then like not necessarily a stage, but a platform.
Yeah,
If it's going to be on the grass, it'd have to be a platform.
yep,
If it's going to be in the parking lot, it should be okay just on the concrete.
Yeah,
the
yeah,
asphalt.
okay. So I mean,
Where
I'm
is it
I'm in
exactly?
favor of
Like,
two
where would it
bands.
be?
I mean,
Well, let me put it to you this way. In my mind, the limited amount of parking that we're going to be able to use at Midwest, wouldn't we be smarter to set the bands up on our for lack of a better word, our section of that parking lot,
If we can, yeah.
and then have them play their music towards the crowd?
Because we'd have to do that, we'd also have to make sure that we could stake into that asphalt, because they're going to want to drive stakes into the asphalt
For what?
for the tent.
Now they've got weights. They can go 2 different ways with that. They don't have to stake it into the. I mean, that would be up to the tent people, but I mean, I've seen them on parking lots before where they use.
Yeah, we had talked logistically about the layout of that, and if you look
Right.
where where that sand volleyball court is, just north of that area, is where they were talking about having the beer tent logistically for just everything. And then having the bands up on the parking area.
Yeah,
but
that would make
that would
the most
be
sense.
yet to be decided as to where. The food vendors, they were talking about possibly having them up along the little walkway up here, which is a little further away, and it might create a little logistic issue there. But
Well, with cars coming in and out, I'd be
Yeah.
a little afraid of that.
I would be afraid
Yeah.
of that too.
and that's what I said. I said, well, why don't we just put them back over here? Parking. I'm like, okay.
And then remember, we
Yeah.
possibly need power and
That was
water.
the other thing with respect to the band and to the food vendors as well.
And I'm sure you've thought of this already, and you're going to consider that. I know we were able to use that property just to the.
I'm going to refer to them as property A, which is that property right there, and property B without mentioning anyone's name, if that's okay.
Yep.
Yep,
I have a meeting with property B, which is south of there, with Jerry Sweats, and I have a meeting set up with them tomorrow at 1 o'clock, I think it is.
Great.
And that's what we're going to be discussing is that.
Okay.
And then with respect to that, I think he was going to reach out to them. We had an agreement with them last year, which covered them. The town gave them a certificate of insurance as well. So if we blew up the guy's house or something like that, obviously it's covered.
Right,
We'd
right.
get recovered from the other guy, the Mad Bomber, from their insurance as well. So.
And that's where mainly most of the families were there. I went to the fireworks last year. You guys go to the fireworks last year? That's kind of where all the families were at, right? And that's if he lets us do it again, that's kind of where everybody was at last year.
Yeah, and that would be
It
roped
worked pretty
off.
good. It was really a nice big area.
Yeah, that would be roped off for, seating, blankets, lawn chairs, that kind of thing.
Sure.
If they needed it for additional parking, they would have that kind of cordoned off. I hope we have a problem with parking.
That would be great.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I guess then on the, to take that a little further, what are we going to do about advertising this to the community? Other than a web page? What do you think,
Okay,
Cindy?
so, well, we've talked about the advertising that we're working on the logo, festival logo. At that point, sorry.
At least this is a preliminary
Yeah.
draft
Okay.
of that. I had a guy that does graphic design kind of just throw something together just to give an idea of where he's going with it. And I just wanted to kind of see where
Like it, yeah?
yeah, if you were looking at, the top one or the bottom one, as far as, which one you feel would be a better way to start to continue that path for that.
I like those. So
We need to
with-
vote on that now?
No, I just get a consensus. We don't
Yeah.
need necessarily a vote. I
Yeah.
mean, if you like the top one, fine. If you like the bottom one, fine.
Yeah.
So for advertising, we talked about like the garage sale type signs, the corrugated signs to put like through town. We talked about creating flyers that would go to local businesses. We talked about, I believe, putting it in the water bill, setting out a flyer at in the June bill, I believe, and then Facebook. So those were our resources that we discussed so far.
We can also use the rave notification system for the people that have signed up for it.
And the town app.
Yes.
That. Yeah. What about billboards? Are we thinking of that at all, or?
Well, it depends on what our budget is here, and what we can raise. So I
Yeah.
guess everybody's got the brochure in front of them for, this is just an idea. I had Scott Bell help me with this a little bit also, and I would encourage somebody to like spearhead the advertising side of it, or the sponsorship side of it. I'm talking to people already. I do have, Cindy, somebody that you can contact, and from one of the local banks that wants to participate.
So, John,
Yeah.
excuse me, wouldn't we want to have like our letter or?
Yeah,
um,
we need our letterhead to announce
Yeah,
this to hand people.
we'll have that finalized hopefully by Monday.
Okay,
The begging letter, as I call it. Yeah.
yes.
I want to show Kelly this here. That's one of the sponsors that seems to be willing. That,
So are we setting a budget based on the amount of sponsorships, or how are we?
I don't think so. I think that the town is going to underwrite most of it, and we're going to try to improve on what they underwrite.
Okay.
And if we are fortunate enough to make money on this, and we can do the donation we were talking about to, maybe the Parks Department, and next year the police department or fire department, maybe they need air packs or vests or something at the police department, So every year, if there's funds available, it would be nice to make that donation and at a board meeting and say, here, get the fire chief in or the police chief. And I think it would go a long way for this to continue year after year with the residents and the support of what the town council has allowed us to do. So,
Cindy, before I forget, where do the written proposals go?
They're going to come to the,
right here.
yes, to hear the admin.
Yeah.
And with respect to a budget, that's something that we're going to have to do sooner rather than later, because we're going to have an appropriation made for the event. We're also going to have to ratify the contract with the event planner. While the council did approve engaging the planner, we're also going to have to ratify that agreement. So she sent me over kind of a draft agreement. We're going to go back and forth with her on that, so that should be on the 27th agenda for ratification. But we'd also have to get the appropriations for the event and for the planner as well.
John, have we heard back from the South Lake Commerce?
They just said that if we needed any other help, to give them a call back. And at this point, I think we've kind of got a game plan set up here, but we certainly can go back to them. Time is against us.
And I'm noticing a note here that caught my attention.
Yeah.
So St. John the Evangelist is going to be advertising perhaps again in June in the water bills, because apparently they did
Yep.
last June. So maybe we want to send something out in May. I know it might be a little bit
I think that's
early, but
not really, because
Yeah.
June might be a little
May
bit
and
too
June.
late.
Right.
Let's do May and June, right? We'll do both,
Yeah.
if you're okay with that.
I mean, it just might make sense to do it that way.
It's new,
Yeah.
get it on people's radar.
Now, what about police and fire and the extra help from Public Works? Has that been talked about, or
So yeah,
has that been
we
coordinated?
had a department head meeting on that, right after the day after I started, and
Yep.
we had a follow-up meeting to discuss this logistics in terms of how public safety is going to be addressing this. On the council's agenda for consideration tonight is an ordinance to amend the salary ordinance, so we're not waiting until July or June to get that done. We're kind of doing it a little bit early. So, yeah, we will have it staffed. We may need additional resources from Lake County for that event, and I don't know what other towns around have anything on that day, but I would imagine they're going to, so they'll be pretty well taxed out.
Mhm.
And so will our police department as well,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it's going to be a fun day.
And, excuse me, in regards to the police department, Malt Brothers recommends that we have a couple extra policemen on duty right at the beer tent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm letting the police chief handle the,
Security.
Logistics.
the logistics of
Okay.
public safety. Between him and Chief Leduc, they'll take care of all of that.
Okay,
So
that was just a
they've
request.
they're very well aware. They're just trying to figure out logistically where they're putting all their people. They'll also have a remote command center set up for the event, and they'll also have a dedicated ambulance for the event as well.
Right.
Wonderful,
Yeah.
wonderful.
Great.
And it could be hot. You got to be prepared.
That's right.
Yeah. It's gonna be hot.
Yeah.
I expect 95 degrees if I'm gonna be out there.
Right. Let's hope.
And humid.
Yeah, exactly.
Probably.
Have you discussed too at your meeting with competition between the departments for beanbag toss and things like that? And
We're not gonna have anyone having fun at the event. We're gonna have the staff there working the event.
Yeah,
So
okay.
They're not gonna be able to have time to engage in that. They're gonna be, doing the public safety aspect of
the
it.
town manager dunk tank is not happening.
You could probably get more money using the town council members. I'm just
Pretty sure you could.
Probably right. That's probably
Pretty sure you could.
We could set a line up for Democrat and Republican and just kind of go from there.
Pretty sure we could.
I like that thought process there.
I'm a good guy, honest.
So, Kelly, are you able to work on some of that sponsorship with Cindy?
Sure.
And would you mind doing that? And
Sure.
Rob's got the food truck vendors, I believe, right? And then we need somebody to talk to Eileen over there for the 3rd. So you want to talk to Eileen? Do you know Eileen?
I do not.
All right. Well, she's a neighbor of ours. So,
Yeah, I know she lives over by us
so
somewhere.
why don't you and I do that?
That'd be fine.
We'll go over there and
Yeah, it'd be nice even if she had some sort of an open house that day or something like that.
Well-
that she could promote her own.
Absolutely, and that's the idea behind that. But then, if her staff is working, a lot of the parents can enjoy that the beer tent and the food while the kids are in there doing what they do in the
Correct.
yeah. So, be even kind of nice to have an open skate there too. If they just got the ice
Possibility,
there,
right.
yeah. So, there's a lot of things we can talk to her about. So maybe we'll
Absolutely.
We'll
Not a
go
problem.
over there and do that. All right. I'll try to set something up with her then, because I know her pretty good. So,
Never met her, but I'd be willing to talk.
but yeah, you bet. Is the committee okay with choosing a tent company? Do you want to? Is there anybody else that has a
I'm
different
comfortable with
tent
that.
company that you want to?
The only other place I know of is Crown Point Rentals. But I don't know to what end, what size tent
Yeah.
they had.
I might have sent you a couple.
I don't believe so, but I'll look. I don't think I saw that. But I also, Jim from Malt Brothers was checking into their tent person also.
Who's that?
Jim from Malt Brothers. I don't know, but he said that he would check into who they've used before
So
also.
can we get our answer on that by the 1st of next week?
I'm sure we can. We played phone tag for a while, and finally yesterday we had about an hour conversation.
Good.
And he's doing a written proposal to me,
Yeah.
and will email it to me as soon as he can.
So they have their own tent,
He
or they
said he
rent
has
it?
a connection to a tent of who they use
Yeah.
locally,
Okay.
and he just offered to follow through on that. So I told him, please do.
And what
then
was
I
the
would-
discussion on the monetary breakdown for them and for the town? Did you have that yet or not?
We have, my notes with him so far say that they would have the servers there from 3 to 9:30, fireworks starting at 9:30. Because they have a catering license, their servers will take care of everything, so we don't have to have volunteers that need to be certified to work with them. So they will take care of, their staff will take care of that. The only request is that they have a tip jar available for the servers. I said I didn't think that'd be a problem, but I guess we need to approve that.
Were they going to handle beer too then?
Beer and wine.
Okay.
Yep, that's what they would offer, beer and wine and like the seltzers. That's, he mentioned that they do have hard liquors, but that always runs into a little bit more consideration at a festival.
Yep.
So,
Stay away from that.
yeah, so I assumed I just said beer and wine, but that I'd get back to him on that. The notes were, and I'm getting to your, your question, John. The notes were that an area has to be roped off inside the tent where they're selling the beer. Everybody else can be in the tent and families can be in that area, but actually where the beer is being sold, that has to be a separate 21 and older area.
So children can be in that tent
They
long
can-
as it's not in that roped off area?
Correct.
Okay.
Because we want it to have family-based. We want the kids to be able to be in there, but that's the only restriction that they have. So he said he would check into the tent if we wanted. He was checking with Ed from Welch's.
Yep.
Because that was my next phone call, and he said he would take care of that, because I guess he's a partner or something. So he was handling that. He offered, if we wanted, that to, as I mentioned before, a map to help set up for the traffic flow, because they'll need to get in and out to get more kegs, so the kegs can stay cold.
Yep.
I'm hoping to sell out. I said that would be great. Yeah,
that
he
would
said
be
they're
great.
not going to sell out because they got 4,000 kegs or 400
Oh.
kegs or something. But said that would be awesome if we did that. He's going to send me a written proposal of these things that we discussed right now, and so the fee, I did not commit to anything. I listened to what he had offered. I proposed that they pay a vendor fee, and I just left it at that. And then he proposed that in the past they have done a 30-70 split, with the town getting 70 and them taking 30. I did not confirm any of that. I just, I said I would propose it to the council and see what your thoughts were. And
Get it in writing?
Well, she's
no,
working
that's
on
a proposal comment. No, but that's what we discussed. So,
Huh? Yeah, that's real
It
good.
is good.
yeah, it's
I
great.
know that's good.
I thought it was great. So I didn't talk any more budget because we haven't decided on that. So I just wanted to listen to what he had to say and propose that to you.
So can you give us an idea, or give me an idea, so when we're looking at appropriations, how much we're kind of guesstimating for tent, for, all the other services? Can we kind of get a number together, and maybe just a ballpark itemized number, so I could have this ready for the council?
I can get you more detailed information, Joe.
Yeah,
Tents are usually a couple grand. That's probably one of your biggest expenses.
yeah.
Is getting the tent a couple grand.
I got some pricing here.
Okay,
So,
where am I at, John? Are we close with that?
You're probably looking for something that's 30 by 120, about $4,000.
Yeah.
Okay, and then a smaller tent would, well, I mean, if you go half that size, it'd be half the money, but I don't know. The smaller tent would be for the band, so I don't think you have to have it half that size. I think you go smaller than that. So I would say if you could somewhere
What's the other tent?
6,000.
What was the other tent for?
It was 30 feet by 120 feet.
Okay.
And that will have panels, window pane panels on the side.
Yeah.
It'll be a nice tent.
I interrupted, I'm sorry, but I don't know if you want to do panels in July because you need an airflow.
Be too hot.
You might want to
Put air
have the
conditioning in it?
canopy.
Right.
that
We
price.
budget that? I'm kidding, really.
I mean, I don't know, just suggestion, but if you have it closed in, then you either need fans or something
You'd
in
open
there
it
for
up,
the airflow.
too.
Have we been able to slate?
But if it rains,
Have we been able to get seating?
You'd have to have it.
We talked about moving all picnic tables over, and then the
take
10
20 like
people
we had.
usually have the chairs.
oh,
Okay. Do we have enough picnic tables around the various parks to be able?
I think we have to rent tables. too.
We did talk to Public Works about getting the tables over there. I don't remember how many he said that they had. It might have been like 20, yeah.
Yeah, we might
20,
want to,
25.
I mean, it might be intuitive to reach out to other municipalities in the area to see if they have any we can rent from them or borrow. That might be a possibility.
Good idea.
Cindy,
Yes.
to Joe's question, is it, and I'm not even thinking about the fireworks end of it, is $25,000 a usable budget to make most of what we're talking about happen?
well, you got to pay salaries too.
Right, well, that's what I'm asking. Is
And-
that
and-
kind of low? Are we,
It is kind of low if you're including salaries in that,
Okay.
because you're paying
And
overtime.
what's a feasible number?
I think an event would probably, well, with fireworks, fireworks are 25, so
Right.
that's like right there, that's a big chunk of it.
I
You
would
could-
think 25, 30,000 on a minimum for what we're talking about.
Yeah, I would probably lean more towards the 30,000.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, this gives him a number that he can at least.
Now, what type of insurance would we need for this event for that day, Joe? Is there anything you're thinking of?
Not that I'm aware of right now. Not that I'm aware of right now. I don't know of any specific insurance that the town would need. I know that in the past they had, we've got our certificate of insurance, which covers,
Liability?
yeah,
things like
which
that?
covers public liability, like for events and stuff like this. So I will check to make sure, but I'm pretty sure it's standard policy that, if they have alcohol on the premises, obviously, where we're serving, that the town would be indemnified by that as well. But I want that in writing because I'm just, very cautious about stuff like that. Especially since this is, I guess it's technically on town property, technically not. But we do have to provide the certificate of insurance to the other property owners, A and B. So we'll make sure that we follow up with the insurance company. In fact, he was here today and I didn't get to talk to him. But that's on my agenda for him. So I'll follow up on that.
What would it take to get the sponsorship details and something that we could utilize to approach business owners? As
We need a letterhead.
Yeah, so the begging letter, like I talked about, we'll have a draft copy out. Cindy can send that out to everyone, make sure that everyone's okay with that. We'll have
Is
some grant.
everybody okay with these numbers?
Yeah, I mean, we'll
Now,
have,
event sponsors too, I like this sheet I gave you, Kelly. I asked them for a little bit more, but we need to contact them and put it in writing too. So, I don't, if you want, you want to do that?
Sure, I
It's okay?
can.
Okay.
You just gotta let me know what little more you asked for.
What's that?
You just need to let me know what little more you asked
Well,
for.
I put it, when I talked to this business, I said, we are looking for probably 2 or 3 event sponsors to, and if we would get $5,000 from each of them, that would put a big dent into what we're doing. The other, we have other sponsorships on here, and, it's up to what the committee thinks, but I mean, is this okay with everyone, or do you think we need to
I
up
think those
this?
numbers are good.
Yeah. Okay,
I think a lot of the local businesses are going to be on the silver and bronze side.
Absolutely.
Um,
But it gives them an opportunity to
Exactly.
contribute without going, this is outside of my realm.
I mean, I can think of a few local, like St. John businesses that would go platinum,
okay.
just offhand. That's why I want to know if we can get
Yep.
a PDF, an official copy, so I could, present it to a couple people.
Yeah.
and-
Right.
All right, so do we have a local sign company that we use?
I think
in
we
town.
do. I think we do. We had a little bit of a get together, a meeting last week, and I thought that Jen had mentioned there's a local sign company. that
We
we've
we
been
talked, I'm sorry, Mike, we talked about R&B fine printing.
using. Yes.
Yeah,
What is the name of them,
R&B fine printing.
and where they at?
they're here in
They're
town.
here in St. John.
They're on, I
Yeah,
think,
they're-
industrial.
Industrial.
Yeah.
All right.
I think we all,
I-
I know Cindy, you had mentioned you thought it might be worth considering, at least for platinum and gold, maybe cutting back on some of these items here.
The variables,
Yeah, the variables, maybe making it a little more streamlined, just, these are wonderful, they're great, but maybe it'd be a little bit too much of a lift for us, like the kids banner logo and some of the shirts, and maybe, I think our
Simple
local
is
business,
better.
let's make it simpler.
yeah.
Yep.
And then we also talked about when we have the sponsors and we get their logo and have the big banner posted in the beer tent
Yeah.
of the sponsors.
Okay.
I have a couple of questions. So are we having kids events? Because I didn't hear that.
Okay, so we're working on it.
Okay.
My 3 connections to face painters are all busy that day already. So that was one of my questions, if you had any connections to any face painters or clowns. We talked about inflatables, but those are really expensive for the short period of time that we're going to offer this year, because they usually, the inflatables are like 2 to 3,000 sometimes, and they break them down at 6. So that'd be too short a period of time to use that. But I think the idea of using Midwest, opening that up for the kids. But
There's
that's
a huge dependency on that, though.
Yeah, you got to engage the kids somehow. You're not going to keep
Right.
them. You're not going to keep them there.
so. I mean, do you want me to follow through and look for inflatables? But like I said, that was just my thought that that's a lot of money.
I mean, I know we have. I sent John information on a couple of town residents that own inflatable companies.
Okay.
Possibly we can dovetail into sponsorship based on donation like that. Donate if they don't have a bouncy house going out for a birthday or what have you, maybe they can put them up at a discounted rate and we'll put their names on a banner. There were a few in town owners that I did find.
Okay.
So that could be, a way to circumvent an expense of that
And that would be
nature.
great. Kids love inflatables.
And again, and another thing, I don't know any clowns, but I know a couple of magicians, and they don't usually, maybe an hour or so is their total. So if you do want that information too, I can get that over to you.
Yes, please.
Somebody I know who's in law enforcement does that on the
Okay.
side, so.
You must have some good parties.
Yeah, that sounds
How
great.
about it? Yeah, I'm
I'm
in.
coming to your house.
Mike, how did you come out with the helicopters and things like that, or
So
flyovers?
the offer that seemed to be so promising seemed to be more tentative now. So I'm working on it, but I'm less optimistic. When I follow back up, I'm like, well, I don't know. And then the one from yes, I don't know. So I'm working on it. And I think we're going to. Rob, did you say you had some connections with another Army base as well?
Great Lakes.
Great Lakes. And I would encourage that others have some connections. We should pursue
And
those.
Joe, didn't you
Yeah.
know somebody too, right?
What time you want them here?
Well, if you can get it, it's whatever time they got. Well, advertise that time then.
We'll say between 2 and 2 and 5.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
right. Well,
I
and we'll
I
be-
sent that over to the fire chief to see if he could check with UCAN, University of
Oh, yeah.
Chicago, to see if they can stop out. Unless they have a major incident, then, they wouldn't come out, but usually they will, if they're out and about.
And as we were talking before, with the military helicopters, usually you have to put that in January to request that to get on their list. And then because it is military, it's usually only 30 days before that they can confirm if they can come out anyway.
Well, it's a Sunday too, which is difficult because typically they tie those into drills,
Oh,
and you don't
okay.
have not a lot of time you have drills on Sunday, so.
Sure.
Unless you're Chicago. Just saying.
All right. Anybody else have anything else tonight to go over?
I have a question still
Yes.
about the sponsorship. So the event sponsor level at 5, so that's not on here. What do you,
Well,
What does-
he's going to make a town letter with that on.
well, what's the 5 get you?
That's a good question.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
So we have to come up with.
okay.
But
I can look.
the biggest sign, I guess.
Well, certainly anything that you would offer to Platinums, obviously,
Obviously, yes.
and then whatever other perk we could send their way.
So I think like St. John, when they do theirs, it's exclusive, right? You can only have one of something, a particular business
Right,
as your
right.
big sponsor.
But as many of us that can sign that letter and get it out to the people that we all know, I mean, we've got a couple here that are good possibilities, so I think some of the new businesses in town are chomping at the bit to,
Get their name out.
yeah,
Sure.
they are, they are. So,
Sure, sure.
Okay?
And then we'd need a deadline on that, especially if we're going to do a banner, because it always takes the companies a while to get their logo to us, so you
Yep,
can get it
yep.
on the
You're going to
banner.
definitely need lead time, and I would probably venture to guess maybe June 15th, and that's really kind of pushing it. That's your drop dead deadline.
Yeah.
Another thing we want to think about as far as, if we can't get, a flyover or, a Black Hawk or something, maybe, Joe, maybe you could reach out to Lake County to see if they can get the SWAT vehicle here generally you don't have a lot of SWAT raids on a Sunday afternoon. So,
That's a great idea as well.
What about their helicopter?
Yeah, they have a helicopter,
yeah,
they come
or
for,
that's right
come
too.
for Christmas in the park.
Yeah.
Maybe they'd send their helicopter out for 4th of July, wouldn't that be great?
Especially because didn't we at least talk about using perhaps some of the sheriffs to be our extra security?
Yeah,
Did.
Yeah.
we are.
So I mean, we could almost kind of, hey, you know, as long as we're talking to you about this, hey, what do you think about that? You know what I mean? It makes sense because we can't leave the town unprotected while all our police staff is working the event.
That's true.
It makes a lot of sense to use the Lake County Sheriff's people, especially the off-duty guys that'd be willing to make a few bucks by, you know, hanging out.
I like the idea, that's a good idea.
I'm texting the chief just to let him know if he could find out on that.
Maybe we can get some of our fire apparatus in town over there.
Oh, they'll be out there.
Okay.
Yeah, they'll be out there.
Fire truck, and
Yeah.
kids will like that.
Kids love that,
Yeah,
yeah.
they love it.
I think our biggest unknown is what volunteer status we are going to need after all the departments put their people out there. You know what I mean? I mean, do we need 20 more people, 30 more people, depending on what we're trying to accomplish here as far as volunteers? You know,
Good
we've had some
good
people
question.
before at the public comment talk about being interested in helping and stuff like that. I mean, do we need to set out some sort of not a question here, but at least a what do you think? Could you help? Would you be willing to volunteer? Because I think at the end of the day, the more the merrier. I mean, who's going to police the tables after the people get done eating? You know, can you assume that they're going to take care of it themselves? I don't think
You're
so.
right, excellent idea.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I mean, we're going to need some volunteers, and obviously the park has only limited resources as far as that goes, even with their part-time help.
Maybe we can get something in writing to send to Lake Central. Get some of the high school kids involved. I
Yeah,
know it's gonna be-
I doubt it
No.
in July.
Yeah.
If it were now, yeah, maybe.
Maybe some of the churches then, maybe
Yeah.
St. John or Suncrest or the Village, you know, get some of their kids, you know, and maybe even like for face painting, you know, what about, you know, the high school girls and, you know, the clubs, they sometimes like doing it. Maybe they'll even face paint for free. We can give them a quick YouTube lesson, you know.
There you go.
I don't know what do you think of that idea?
I think the more community members we get involved, the better, you know. My other thought was looking for volunteers. Maybe on the flyer that we create, on the very bottom, you can have a volunteer space right on there. Send it out at the same time that we advertise the event, and then return it by this date if you'd like to volunteer. They would cut down on paperwork and stuff.
Yeah, add that to the mailing going out and the bills.
Right, that probably would be better to add it on there, wouldn't you think? Yeah.
Anybody have anything else? We got our regular meeting on the 23rd, so I believe that's correct, isn't it? The 23rd, 24th?
I don't think so.
What's
it?
the,
2 weeks from
It's a weekend, ain't it?
today.
yeah,
27th.
27.
27th, all right. So our next meeting will be on the 27th. There's nobody here for public comment, and any reports? Anybody else want to give a report? We kind of discussed everything we had here.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
before we wrap it up, though,
Yeah.
can we discuss the bands again?
Oh, that's right.
Dan's right.
So I don't know if anybody got to check out Replay or Gearhart or,
I've heard
Um,
them.
Little
They're
Giant.
excellent.
Yeah, some of these guys have already heard Gerhardt.
okay.
Yeah.
So I'm open to any band. I tried to be very neutral and told the bands that it's a group decision
Right.
Yeah.
because I want to keep doors
I
open.
like the guy with the leather pants the best. That was I was watching all their YouTube videos, a few of them. Forget what the name of that band was, but
I'm sorry, say that again, Mike?
I like the one that the main singer's always wearing leather pants.
That's
this guy's
Little
in-
Giant.
Little Giant. They were both good, but
Yeah. Yeah, they're trying to be neutral here. Both bands are great getting people dancing and sing-along bands. And then Gearhart, I'm not familiar with, but love the video. So, like I said, I'm open to any band. You know, whatever we decide.
Is it legal, moral, and ethical to just, maybe you can send a link to all three, or however you want to do it, and can we just send our vote to you?
That's fine.
1, 2, 3. If there's three, just say 1, 2, 3, and the winner wins. Or the top two.
The top two will win,
bands.
yeah.
So we're going to try, and I apologize, my notes say we're going to do 3 to 10, which it doesn't matter if we change it to 2 to 10. So what time are we looking for these bands?
3 to 10 works for me because logistically 3 to 11,
That's what I
yeah,
thought,
for
but,
personnel reasons.
Gonna
it's
go
8
3 to
hours,
6
yeah.
and then 6 to 9, or?
No, I'm 3 to 10 works.
No, we're talking about possibly 2 bands. I think
3 to
that's-
6.
No, I'm saying the whole event, 3
Right,
to 10.
right,
That
yeah.
works.
Yeah.
3 to 10, so that's,
Yeah.
When you send out the
7
information for the
hours and
bands,
then
make sure you send the dollar
an hour
amounts
to
for the
get
bids and
everything
everything too. Make sure you send out the bid information too.
okay, yes, I have it for Replay and Little Giant.
Okay.
All right, well, we'll, if you send us those links, Cindy, we'll vote.
Okay, Little Giant and Replay don't actually have like a link like Gearhart did, but you could just pull them up on Facebook, look them up, and click on the videos that people have taken. They're not professional videos, so they're just people in the crowd taking them, but you can get an idea of their interaction with the crowd and the kind of music they play.
Okay.
Like I said, and everybody's anxious
Any of
to
these
be-
bands local?
Um,
St. John people?
Replays from the Heights.
Okay,
Gearhart is Cedar Lake and St. John.
okay.
and
Well, I
Little-
think that factors in too. I really do.
To get a
yeah,
local,
and Little
draw.
Giant
Right,
is,
exactly. They bring their own fan base.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, you
Little,
know what I mean? I mean,
Well-
nothing against any outside band, but I mean,
Little Giant is Lansing.
okay.
So I mean, they're all kind of local. They bring a fan base, but I think they're all great. So, and they all want to be on the list for any of our events.
Sounds great. Sounds good.
Okay, I will send that out. Can we say like by Monday or something, or
That's good.
Friday, or I don't know, is Friday too quick? Like, or
That might
say,
be too quick. I mean, it
Mondays.
would be a hassle by Monday?
no, it's fine with me. It's up to you guys. when
Monday's
you-
good.
Monday, okay.
Monday's good.
Because I had a band already contact me today saying, hey, what's going on? Because they have other offers, so we
Yep.
want to be fair to them.
Yep.
Okay, thank
So-
you.
So does everybody have Cindy's email where you can just send her your vote?
No.
I just happen to have my card.
I have your cell phone number, but
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll give you guys my cards, but you'll get an email from me.
And it would be nice to have kind of Cindy kind of quarterback everything in
Yep,
terms of
absolutely.
how we're going to do this. So that way she's in on everything and there's no ambiguity
agree.
on it.
Okay,
I
thank
agree.
you.
Right.
If there's anything else, then I'd like to move for adjournment.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I will second it.